TC, Spiritual Shepherd. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are getting into something called Kai-Zen. Kai-Zen. So Kai means change. 555. Change. Kai means Zen. Okay. Kai means change. Zen means good for betterment. So ultimately, it is to change for the good or for the betterment of the goodness of your life. Now, I have some notes right here. I'm also going to put up Kai-Zen right over here, so I'll kind of scooch over just a bit. So Kai-Zen, okay? So Kai-Zen is ultimately change for the better. Now, let me load my notes. It's taking just a moment to load. All right. Now, Kai-Zen, guys. So Kai-Zen is about altruism. I'm going to put a couple of different notes that I wrote today, and we're going to speak about these different types of things. Okay, so altruism is a high idealism. It is ultimately being so responsible, so accountable, so perfectly perfect, so effortlessly, effortless. Okay. And it's also getting to the point where you have such an ideal. So you have integrated integrity in your ideals. You have a cultivation of how things are building, how things are cultivating. You have integrated integrity. You have compassion. You have empathy. And we're also going to speak on the law of reversibility, the law of, transference. We're going to get into just many different things like this. So law of reversibility means that live as if you are in the end of the wish fulfilled, which is Neville Goddard. It is the law of assumption, okay? Similar to the law of attraction, but it has they're both intercorrelated. Everything's interconnected. Everything is connected. So first and foremost, with this type of cultivation, the law of reversibility and also Kai-Zen, so changing for the better, continuously getting better. This is talked about, get 1% better. You've heard the cliche term, get 1% better, get 1% better every day. Well, instead of, hanging on to cliche quotes, I would say just continuously getting 1% better every moment. So each moment you're getting 1% better from the previous moment up into the futuristic moment, which is all basing it here in the now, which is Zen. Zen Buddhism is this right here. Zen is this. This is Zen. That is Zen. This is Zen. Okay, so ultimately, as you realize that is that, and this is this, you get what I'm saying. Zen is silence. Zen is peacefulness. Zen is love, joyfulness. Zen is Zen. It is Zen. Okay, so Kai-Zen is to change for Zen, or change to Zen, change into Zen, transmute your change, so your transformation, your transmutation into Zen. It's very easy to understand. Don't overcomplicate it because you don't understand the words. It's just turning your negative into positive. Alchemization. It's transmutation, which is what Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich and all these other different cultivations of sexual transmutation. You transform sexual jing, sexual fluid energy. You go on semen retention. You go on nofap. You go on celibacy. You go on brahmacharya. We'll give it a million names if you want. And ultimately, from this type of thing, you actually cultivate breath work. You start to use that energy. You don't waste it. You don't spill your seed. You don't release, okay? Both men and women. And what you do is you will have a very high power inside of you. This is the Holy Spirit. This is where you are observing the ego, where you are observing the body, where you are observing life, where you can respond and not necessarily react. Your ego, your body, your flesh, that is reactive. Your spirit, that is responsive. That is responsive. Okay? So the spirit, this is whole, holy. It is wholeness. Your spirit is impartial. Okay? It is complete. Your flesh is an incomplete fractalized version of the systematic matrix, but also a fractalized version of everybody that comes before you, everybody that comes after you. You have a certain number of ones and zeros, all this type of stuff. Your spirit is impartial, moving through you. Okay? We all have the same spirit. It's how we choose to live through the bodily systems, through the temples, through our conditioning, through our programming, through the lives that we're given, what we choose to believe in, what we choose not to believe in, which I'm a believer. One big thing about this is altruistic. So think about artistic and all true. I'm an all true artistic being. Artistic meaning creative. I'm an all true creative being. I'm an all true artistic being. I'm an all true mystic being. I'm a mystical being. I'm a magical being. I'm a miraculous miracle being. Okay? And we have to understand that ultimately, Soul Tribe, hear me now. Kai-Zen is changing for Zen, changing for the better. Changing for the better is ultimately realizing that you have an ideal version of you, which is exactly why I'm putting this up, the law of reversibility. This is really going to teach you. So you first figure out, what don't I want? What don't I want? I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. So then you say, okay, I write all these things down, and then you transmute it. You do the opposite. So I don't want to be a drug addict. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to fill in the blank. And then on the other side, you say, okay, well, that tells me that I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to afford everything. I want to have tons of money. I want to be very happy. I want to be able to travel everywhere. I want a great relationship. You could fill in the blank, okay? And I want to be able to eat grass-fed beef. I want to be able to eat, all that stuff. Okay, I want to be able to afford the proper supplementation that I need. I want to be able to send my family wherever they need to go, buy my family whatever they need to have. Okay, so any of these types of things, and then you transmute that into that, and then you transmute that into I already have, I already have, I already have, I already am, I already cultivate, I already know, I already embody, and I know I'm self-perpetuating that cycle, and then that self-concept starts to realize I already am abundant. I already am filled with gratitude. Gratitude, a grateful attitude. Gratitude, grateful attitude. Okay? A great attitude. Gratitude, a great attitude. Okay? Great as in grateful. Full of greatness. Okay? So full of greatness. Gratefulness. Okay? And then fulfillment. What is fulfillment? Full, filled, mint, might, mind, might, almighty, all mind. All mind. Okay, so all mind is literally the first law of the universe. 12 universal laws, at least the 12 that they tell you. The law of oneness, the law of almightiness, the law of oneness, the law of interconnected source. We call God. That interconnects all of us. Intercorrelated, okay, is impartial. It's in all beings. Okay, now as we continuously go through all this, altruistic, we go into integrated, integrity. Well, you first have to be unintegrated to figure out what integration is. So to cultivate integrity, you have to be filled with unintegrity to some degree, which means that you're born into darkness, you're born into shadow, you're born into shadow unconsciousness, you're born into unknowingness. Where did you come from before this? Do you remember where you came from before this? Because you're an all-existent being, which means that you're going to continuously live after your body. You'll give up your body. You'll offer up your body. See, and this is all about change. This is change. And this is the whole thing about what Buddhism is. And I'm not trying to trip you guys out, okay? Because I believe in ancient Egyptian Christianity. But I want you guys to understand that I would say that Buddhism is not a religion, or it's a way of practice. It is a way of walking, and it is very, very aligned with that of Yeshua, okay, who's Jesus, okay. to what people, call Jesus. Now, ultimately, this is in aligned mind, an aligned mind, okay? So this is intercorrelated with the alignment of how we're to live our lives, which means that we are not to want. We are to realize everything changes. These are like the Buddhist practices. You're to live in, right concentration. You're to live in right thought patterns, right emotionality patterns. You're to, right view, have the right viewpoints. So many different things. Check out the Eightfold Path. A lot of these things are actually very simplistic in nature, which is why people don't do it, because it's too simplistic. It's too conservative. It's too simplistic for people, too minimalistic for people that, like you just wear robes every day. Well, Yeshua wore robes every day. Yeshua fasted every day. Yeshua did breath work. Yeshua was a minimalist. Yeshua was a breatharian. Yeshua had the proper mindset. Spoke after he thought. He thought before he spoke. And he used proper word etymology, proper word articulation. He articulated his words properly to be conveyed and understood or overstood or comprehended properly. And this comes from the basis of, Kai-Zen, the law of reversibility. So I'm going to put this thing up. And it's living in the end. So say you want all these things. Okay, I want to be able to travel. And then you honestly close your eyes in a meditation, a very simple, easy meditation. Okay, you're not chanting or oming or any of this type of stuff, whether if you want to or not. I'm just saying. But ultimately, what you would do is you would feel it. You would feel fulfilled as if it is already happening. And you would feel positive frequency vibrations, which we're going to get into a video called Surprise Can Change Your Life. Surprise can change your life. The vibration of surprise can change your life. The vibration of surprise can change your life. Okay. Is it free? No, it's not free, because you don't want it to ever be free. That's the whole thing. But ultimately, you live in the end. Okay. So by living in the end, and you're like, oh, I already am this. I already have these things. And then you go reverse pyramid, reversibility, reverse pyramid training. As you do the reverse pyramid training of it, okay, so you flip it on its head. The reverse pyramid training to Kai-Zen is the proper way of living, as well as law of reversibility, law of assumption, law of attraction, which there's over 400 verses of the law of attraction, still obviously to this day, even with the edited Bible, okay? And that is the whole thing about this, is that, there's 22 letters in Hebrew. The 22 letters are interconnected with Kabbalah, which is interconnected with, the DNA. The DNA is inside of all of us. Obviously, we're on different spectrums, different paths. There's 22 paths within the Kabbalah, and those 22 paths are on different frequency, wavelength vibrations to be received or to be emitted. And so some people are on lower frequencies. Some people are on higher frequencies. Some people receive more. Some people offer up more of their energy. Some people are outside based. Some people are inside based. Some people are extroverted. Some people are introverted. Some people are introverted in their extrovert. Like, I would prefer to just stay inside and not meet a lot of people, but still meet a lot of people. And I'm great with talking with people, but I would prefer to have you guys one-on-one. Invite them in like a one a day. Just like a one a day, Invite them in like a one a day. But also invite them in like it's, like one a day. Okay. You guys get the point. So with this, Kai-Zen is changing for the better, getting 1% better momentarily, on a moment-by-moment basis, building momentum every single moment, getting better every moment. Stop worrying about 10 years from now, okay? What I'm saying is all right, you are worried about 10 years from now. So live as if you are already 10 years from now. Live as if you're already 10 years from now. And then just take moments backwards, I guess you could say. Life must be lived forwards, but it can only be understood backwards. So when you live as if you are in the wish fulfilled, as if you are and being as if you are in the end, living in the wish fulfilled, as the Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius, live as if your life is already done. Live as if your life is already completed. Now, once you've done that, go back and how is it completed? That is literally the law of assumption based in Stoicism, based on the emperor Marcus Aurelius, the last noble, the last, good Caesar of Rome, or the last great emperor of Rome. He wasn't really Caesar, but you guys get my point. He's the last great emperor. And this is the cultivation of this, y'all. This is the great cultivation of this. That we must understand that when you start to live in the end and you have positive heart, positive mindset, positive thoughts, positive emotions, this is what was being taught. This is what is still being taught. I hear it in sermons from people who I would say are more religious than me. They still say things that are divinely aligned with exactly what I'm saying. Okay? Exactly what I'm saying. And they are very passionate about it, and they know it. We should expect positive. That's what faith is. We should expect great things. We should expect beautiful things. We should expect beautiful things. We should assume that the beauty, if it's not here right now, that it's coming real quick. In this now it is, though. In this now, it continuously just comes. See, and that is the thing where we start to have faith, we start to have trust, we start to have belief. What do these words mean to you? What does worthiness mean to you? You are worthy. You are worthy if you have the Holy Spirit inside of you, if you have that whole spirit, the wholeness spirit, the holistic spirit inside of you. When you are living in a light spirit, you have a great spirit. I have a lion spirit. That's my spirit. I have a lion spirit, a lion and a wolf spirit. Okay? Now, to conclude, Kai-Zen, as you live in the end of the wish fulfilled, you realize this is how I want my life to be completed. This is how I want it to be changed for the better. Okay? Then you start to be like, all right, so, and I did this. It was like my first video. It was like a 10-year plan. But I was like, I want to be an excellent martial artist. I want to be, I want to have multiple millions of dollars. I want to pass on multiple millions of dollars in generational wealth. I want to have the most beautiful wife. I want to have the best relationship with this woman. I want to learn every little idiosyncrasy and just increment, of this woman, of this being, of this beautiful divine feminine being, this divine melanated feminine being. Okay, and then in this as well is I want to be excellent for my kids. I want to be an example to my son. I want to be an example to my daughter. I want to be an example to my brothers, to my father, to my mother, to my aunts, to my uncles. I want to be a representation. I want to be the example for all living beings, all living natural beings on this planet, whether it's to be sustainable, whether it's to be a business or a fitness entrepreneur, whether it's it's so many different cultivations. I could talk for hours. Okay? But there's also, being the example. I want to be, the best fitness expert. I want to understand all the different types of things of the bodies, whether it's Eastern modalities of acupuncture, acupressure, massage, shiatsu, all these other different types of things, all these different modalities, and the Western modalities, understanding the medicines. That's why I went into EMT, understanding the Eastern modalities. That's why I went into massage. That's why I went into the cultivation of this. And it was, why did I want to, teach people fitness? And now I am. Why did I want to be a personal trainer? Now I am. Because it's all leading up to who I am. The end of the life. And so when you start to live as if the end is fulfilled, you live in the fulfillment of the end now, in the now, then the now is the now. Then they're all connected. The future and the past are interconnected in the now. When the past was happening, it was the now. When the now is happening, it's still in the now and the happening of the now. And then when the future happens and you think that the future is happening in the now, it's going to happen in the now because you're going to be in the now when the future is happening. So it's all happening in the now. And all as it's happening in the now, it's being the best version now, which is the law of reversibility. So you are starting as, I'm already great. I'm already amazing. I already have positive. And then it comes from the affirmations, and it's not just I am, which is root chakra, which is the first seal of revelation, not the seventh seal, which there's 7 seals of revelation, which governs the 144,000, the 144,000 ray, all this type of stuff. Okay, which is really just the rainbow and multitudes of things that are connected with Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism. All these things. But ultimately, as you start to raise the 7th seal, where I am wise, or I have wisdom, I know, wisely I emit, I am, I feel, I care for, I speak, what is it? I think, I know. Okay, and then wisdom is knowledge of knowledge. Knowledge of knowledge is wisdom. Applied knowledge of applied knowledge is wisdom. Applied knowledge of applied knowledge is wisdom. Now, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Because a lot of people know a lot of stuff, but they don't apply it. They don't give application to the knowledge. They don't cultivate with the knowledge. They don't submit the application and consent to the application of the knowledge that they've learned. They just consent to their time being wasted by listening to people that they're not going to follow through on. And that's the big thing that I talk about is it free or just a multitude of things that people want things for free. People want to waste your time because they generally already waste their time. They don't want to invest time because they've already wasted enough of their time that they don't want to invest more time or more energy or whatever, or more money or more attention on you because they have already failed themselves. So they think inherently, because they judge themselves so hard, that you're going to do the same thing when you hold yourself to a higher standard. You're fitter, you're happier, you're in a better relationship. You're making more bread in a multitude of ways. A multitude of things, guys. And this is not like a braggadocious type of thing. It's not about that. It's more about like you are being the example. You are setting the example. You have a ritualistic, altruistic discipline that you cultivate every single day through self-discipline. You don't want to wake up at 3:30, but you answer the wake-up call. You answer the call of your conscience. You show up for yourself. And you show up for yourself because it is an inherent call to action of yourself, but it is also saying that if I let me down, then I could potentially let you down. And I'm not going to let you down because then that might give you the impression that you can let me down and you can't. And then I won't even offer you that opportunity because I'll show up for myself that you can't let me down. You see the inherent, there's multiple levels of psychology that are intercorrelated with just self-discipline. Self-reliance, self-responsibility, caring for yourself. And sometimes, I wish I could tell people this, that I understood this 7 years ago. But to some degree as well is that applied knowledge is power. Just because I knew it doesn't mean I applied it. So I didn't know shit. I didn't do anything. I didn't know it because to know and not to do is to not to know. To know and not to do is to not to know. Okay, so that is the action. So ultimately, what we do is we know and we do, and so then therefore we know and we do, and we do and we know. And we cultivate the wisdom of the knowledge. Okay, and this is through altruism. Altruism is being altruistic. It's standing for a high ideal, not settling for less. There are non-negotiables. There are ways to eat. There are ways to train. There are ways to keep your body lean. There are people who are 65 who look 25. There are people who are 25 who look 65. There are people who are fit, rich, and rare, and they're young. And then there's people who are fit, rich, and rare, and they're old. So it doesn't necessarily matter about age. It matters about what? It matters about their discipline. It matters about their rituals. It matters about their routines. It matters about their organization. It matters about their schedules. It matters about how they cultivate themselves, how they embody themselves, with their mind, body, soul, mind, emotional, body, soul, and interconnection. Okay? And so that is the Trinity, the Jing, the Qi, the Shin, the interconnection of the 3 jewels. There's so many different types of things, from sexual energy to Qi energy, which is movement, which is, healing, massage, and then I really do think that these beta blockers and these all these different types of medications are to trigger these chemical induced and electrical induced, transmitters and ones and zeros of your gene switches. So then when you continuously take these medications, you are not just falling for the system, but you're also teaching your body to not run properly. And so ultimately you just need to run properly. You just need to go running properly. You need to sprint and you need to walk. You need to cultivate yourself. You need to count your macros. You need to, develop who you are. And as you develop who you are, you'll start to develop who you are. And as you live, we'll conclude it. As you live in the end of the wish fulfilled, as you live in that self-completion, self-actualization, self-realization. You have multiple realizations. You have one actualization, one completion of self, and one self-transcendence. Okay, you have a lot of realizations. I realize I don't want to be a drunkard. I realize I don't want to be. But then you have one self-actualization of who are you at the end of your life. You have one self-transcendence. Did you transcend your ego at the end of your life? Did you say, it doesn't matter what TC said. It didn't matter what TC wanted. I knew that if I didn't always instantly gratify TC, if I didn't instantly gratify TC's ego or TC the ego, then ultimately if I didn't gratify the straw man, if I didn't gratify the straw man, but instead I claimed my name and I lived as a living being, I lived as a living spirit, a human as in light man, as in light being. Okay, as I live as a light being rather than my ego, rather than my flesh, as I live in the spirit rather than my flesh, then ultimately I am not going to instantly gratify, but instead live in gratitude. Instead live in empathy and in compassion and in love, and actually have forgiveness for people who are still living within the flesh or living without the spirit. Their spirit is without them, meaning that they are living outside of themselves. External, exit. It's exited. It's exodus. There's so many intercorrelations. Think about what external is versus internal. Internal is eternal. Internal is eternal. That which cannot be seen is eternal. The only way that you can see inside of your body is through what? Different light spectrums. But you can't see within those light spectrums. You can only see fractalized versions of MRIs, X-rays, cosmic rays, all these different types of light frequencies, infrared, ultraviolet frequencies, which is what Batman does, which is why he's Batman. So when you guys see me on the streets and I'm dressed like Batman, it's just because I got all the spectrums of light. I can see through all the spectrums of light. There's nothing to be afraid of when you can see through all spectrums of light, in all spectrums of light. So that's pretty much it, guys. Kai-Zen, change for the better, continuously get better, continuously grow, continuously evolve your spirit, continuously by moment, build the momentum, post daily, work out daily. Sometimes it's just going through the motions, but you show up for yourself. It's about showing up daily for yourself and for one and the all. It's not just showing up for myself to gratify myself and for my selfish ambitions. It's not selfish to care for yourself. It's actually very selfless to care for yourself. It's very selfless to care for yourself, which selfless self-care. All these videos are coming soon, guys. All these videos are coming soon. Is it free? No, it's not. Selfless self-care, selfless self-sabotage, Kai-Zen, which is the one that we made today. And we have a multitude of other videos coming. Peace, much love, namaste. Talk to you guys soon. This is Kai-Zen. Make sure you change for the better. Become truly altruistic with your lifestyle, as well as have an ideal. Set yourself to the ideal and then live in the end of that ideal and be that person now. So be the multimillionaire now. What does that mean? That means, if I'm in this type of thing, then I would embody this type of way. I would live this type of way. I'd act this type of way, and then start living that way now. And you'll make those small increments, and then those things are going to get closer together, and you will be in that parallel reality because you are bringing those planes, those planets, those vibrational resonances closer together, so therefore you resonate on it, and then you receive what we resonate on. We receive what we are, not what we desire. So when we become what we desire, when we become who we are is what we used to desire, now we are it, we embody it, and we attract it. Peace.